Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Don K. Preston. I am the president of Preterist Research Institute of Ardmore, Oklahoma, and this is what I call my morning musings. Hey, very excited to give an update. I mentioned on the previous segment that Mr. Bruce Bennett, who had challenged me to a debate to be held in New York, I had tried to get a hold of him with no response. Well, finally, yesterday evening, as a matter of fact, Mr. Bennett finally responded, said, yes, we can have a debate. He is willing to have the debate at his church, which I appreciate very much, which is only appropriate since he's the one that did the challenging. And we are currently now, I'll be sending an email today with some suggested logistical details so that we can get this worked out. My schedule is pretty tight until somewhere around October. So we'll go to work negotiating on that. I will keep you informed about that. When we have some details worked out, we'll most assuredly be announcing it right here on Morning Musings so that you can make your plans. So be, sort of kind of have that in mind, all right? But as it stands right now, Mr. Bennett and I have a tentative initial agreement to have a debate there in New York at his church. Okay, we are talking about the already but the not yet, and specifically as it relates to the book of Revelation. Yesterday I shared with you from Revelation chapter 20, how it correlates to chapter 12. It correlates perfectly with Revelation chapter 6. Now here is something that to me is really quite stunning. When I spoke at Criswell College, October of 2012, I took note of the fact that Kenneth Gentry, Craig Blazing, and, most other scholars, as a matter of fact, acknowledge that the martyrs of Revelation chapter 20 are the same martyrs of chapter 6, and many, many, many scholars even acknowledge that it is related to Matthew chapter 23. Now, folks, if you don't see a train coming, you need to open your eyes. If the martyrs of Revelation chapter 20, 1 through 4, are in fact the martyrs that Jesus mentions in Matthew chapter 23, if the process of the already but the not yet of martyrdom in Revelation 20 matches Matthew 23, then without any doubt whatsoever, the end of the millennium had to have been in AD 70. Now notice what we've got in Revelation chapter 20. We have the presence and the reality of martyrs. These are those who have been beheaded for the Word of God. Matthew 23, Jesus speaks about how Israel had slain the prophets in the past. Is there a correlation between the martyrs in Revelation 20 and the slaying of the prophets and righteous in Matthew chapter 6? How would one go about delineating between them, especially given the fact that chapter 6, chapter 12, and actually chapter 14 as well. And by the way, actually chapter 16, 17, and 18 is correlated to it as well. So, if the martyrs in Revelation chapter 20 are the past martyrs that Jesus refers to in Matthew chapter 23, Jesus said that in his generation, the fullness of the martyrs, the cup of sin on the part of those killing the martyrs, and the cup of suffering on the part of the martyrs, would be filled up in his generation. That correlates to the millennium in Revelation chapter 20. Jesus said that cup of suffering would be filled up as he sent out his apostles and prophets and wise men, and Israel killed them. Luke 11:49 and following. Well, guess what? In Revelation 6 and in Revelation 12 and in Revelation 16 through 18, more suffering was to take place. And who was it in their dying that was then, at that time, filling up finally the measure of suffering? Oh, it was the apostles and prophets of Jesus. Revelation 18:20 to 24. Does that not relate to the millennium period? As the martyrs wait on thrones, what are they waiting for? Oh, they're waiting for the destruction of Satan, who is the persecutor. Do you mean to tell me the persecutor is not doing any persecuting in the millennium? Well, he's loosed most assuredly near the end of the millennium. You see, there's a lot of confusion about what did or did not, or could not take place during that millennial period. But the point of fact is, we have perfect correspondence here between what Matthew chapter 23, and Revelation 6, Revelation 12, Revelation 16 to 18 all say. And finally, of course, at the end of the millennium, you have the destruction of Satan the persecutor. Jesus identified Old Covenant Israel as the persecutor who would fill up the measure of her sin, fill up the measure of suffering, and be destroyed in his generation. Satan was about to be crushed under the feet of the persecuted saints, Romans 16:20. And in Revelation chapter 22, Jesus said, "Behold, I come quickly." To do what? To destroy Satan, the great persecutor. This perfect correspondence in theme and motif and in time demands that the already but the not yet of Revelation 20 of martyr vindication was to be consummated and the great white throne judgment take place at the end of the millennium. Yes, it's a 40-year millennium. In the judgment of Old Covenant Israel, the persecuting power in AD 70. Now look, I developed this and a whole lot more in my book, Who is This Babylon? Go to my websites, www.eschatology.org or BibleProphecy.com. BibleProphecy.com, enter the code 7070. You will not be charged shipping because you've watched and you've seen the offer right here on Facebook and YouTube. All right? Get the book. You will be absolutely astounded to see the perfect correspondence between Matthew 23, the dominant text, the determinative and the normative text in discussions of the martyrdom and the vindication of the martyrs. It'll blow your mind. Get the book. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you on the flip side.